Why does time feel like it's slipping away? And how can language learning actually slow it down? Master these 8 essential words and you'll discover how to stop procrastination, make every minute count, and keep your fluency growing. And want to know the secret? Let's unlock it together. Stick around for the quiz at the end to prove your progress. What you will learn in this video.
Why time feels faster as we age, and how language learning can slow it down.
The secret to making small daily habits add up to fluency.
How to outsmart distractions and free up more time for language learning.
The surprising way teaching someone else can supercharge your own learning.
Ready to power up your English with some juicy new vocabulary? Let's jump in. No fluff, just awesome words you'll actually use.
Make the most of. Definition. Use time or opportunity well. Example. Make the most of your mornings to learn with Fun Fluent. Collocations. Make the most of your time, life, opportunity.
Fly by. Definition. When time passes very quickly. Example. This episode is flying by, right? Synonym. Zoom past. Antonym. Drag on. Collocations. Time flies by. Years fly by.
Wrestle with. Definition. To struggle with a difficult problem or idea. Example. I'm wrestling with Spanish grammar right now. Synonym. Struggle with. Collocations. Wrestle with doubt, wrestle with feelings, wrestle with questions.
Overestimate. Definition. Think something is more than it really is. Example. We overestimate how much we can learn in one day. Synonym. Exaggerate. Antonym. Underestimate.
Add up. Definition. To increase gradually over time. Example. A few words a day add up to a lot with Fun Fluent. Synonym. Accumulate. Collocations. Add up quickly. Small things add up.
Steal your time. Definition. Waste your time without you noticing. Example. Social media can totally steal your time. Synonym. Drain your time, waste time. Collocations. Steal your focus, steal your attention.
Give back. Definition. To help others, especially with your time or knowledge. Example. You can give back by helping others learn your native language. Collocations. Give back to the community, give back to others.
Last but not least. Let go of something. Definition. To stop holding on to something, mentally or emotionally. Example. Let go of methods that don't work for you. Synonym. Release. Antonym. Hold on to. Collocations. Let go of fear. Let go of control.
That's your vocabulary pack for today. 10 solid phrases you'll start hearing everywhere.
And now that you know them, use them. Chat, write, or speak them out loud.
Actually, here's a secret. If you listen to this episode just one more time in a few days, your brain will lock those words in deep, like forever deep.
So make it a habit. Rewind, re-listen, repeat. And let these words become yours.
All right, so, that feeling, right, when you realize just how short life really is.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's a simple thought, but it really makes you think about how you're using your time,
It does.
especially as language learners. Like, why would we put off learning a new language?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if time is so limited.
Precious.
Yeah, it feels like a really valuable way to use the time we have.
It really is. And we're going to dive into this idea even more today, looking at a video by Productive Peter called Life is Short, How to Spend It Wisely.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's full of great insights about making the most of your time.
Yeah.
And we're going to focus on how those ideas can help us, specifically as language learners.
Sounds good. So let's start by thinking about how we actually experience time, right? I mean, the video talks about this thing called the time unit paradox.
Right.
It's that weird thing where when we were kids, summers felt like they lasted forever.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like now, like years just seem to fly by.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever thought about why that happens?
Well, there's some really interesting research that suggests that when we experience something totally new, our brains make these really strong connections, to store those memories.
So like new experiences kind of make time feel longer?
Exactly, because your brain is working hard to process all that new information, and it's creating these detailed memories that make that time feel so much richer.
And as kids, almost everything is new, right? So it's like our brains are constantly making these super vivid memories.
Exactly. And that's why time seems to stretch out so much when we're young.
But as adults, we get stuck in routines.
Yeah, much more.
And we have fewer of those truly new experiences, so time feels like it's speeding up.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So how does that relate to language learning?
Well, think about it. When you're first starting to learn a language, it can feel really slow.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You're wrestling with grammar, new vocabulary. Everything feels so unfamiliar.
And progress can feel super slow.
It can, but remember, new experiences make time feel longer. So when you're learning a language, you're constantly having these new experiences, new sounds, new grammar, even new ways of thinking.
It's like a whole new world opening up.
Exactly, and your brain is loving it. It's forming all these new connections, which can actually make your perception of time feel richer and more fulfilling.
That's so cool. I never thought about it like that.
It's kind of like when you travel to a new place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those few days can feel so much longer than a normal week at home because everything is so new and exciting.
That's so true. And the video also mentions this thing about like, we tend to overestimate what we can do in a day,
Oh, yeah,
but underestimate what we can achieve in a year.
definitely.
How do you think that applies to language learning?
I think it's a really important point for language learners. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't become fluent, as quickly as you'd hoped.
Yeah, like after a few weeks or months.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the key is to think long term. Consistency is key.
Right.
Even just doing a little bit each day, like 15, 20 minutes of focused study can make a huge difference over a year.
It's like planting a seed. You don't see results right away, but with consistent care, it eventually grows into something amazing.
I love that analogy.
So, okay, we've talked about how we perceive time, but how do we make sure we're actually using it wisely?
Right.
Especially when it comes to language learning. The video talks about something called priority management.
Yes. And the main point there is that we need to focus our energy on the things that really matter to us.
Okay.
Like when you realize that your time is limited, it makes you really think about how you want to spend it.
Definitely.
So the video suggests using what he calls a to-list strategy.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So basically, you have one list for the things you want to achieve,
Got it.
and another list for things you want to avoid, the things that waste your time.
Interesting. So how can we use that for language learning?
Well, your Achievely list would include all your language goals, right?
Like reaching a certain level of fluency, being able to have conversations maybe reading books in your target language.
Exactly. And then your avoid list would be all the things that distract you from those goals.
So like mindlessly scrolling through social media or getting lost in YouTube rabbit holes.
Yes, those things can really steal your time and energy.
And the video makes this really interesting comparison to compound interest, right? Like how small daily investments can really add up over time.
It's a powerful concept, and it applies perfectly to language learning.
How so?
Well, even if you just commit to learning a few new words every day or spending a little time reviewing grammar, those small efforts compound over time and lead to significant progress.
So it's about consistency over intensity.
Exactly. Think about it. Learning just 5 new words a day adds up to over 1,800 new words in a year.
That's a lot of words.
It is, and that's why being aware of those distractions, those things that steal your time, is so important.
Yeah, social media can be a real time suck.
It can, and it's often not even that enjoyable in the end.
No, it's not.
So being mindful of how you're spending your time and making conscious choices to minimize those distractions is crucial for freeing up time and energy for things that matter more, like language learning.
Now, the video also talks about relationships and how they're kind of like bank accounts.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
So how do you see that connecting to language learning?
Well, just like with a bank account, you can make deposits and withdrawals in your relationships.
So like a compliment or a kind gesture would be a deposit.
Exactly. And being unreliable or negative would be a withdrawal.
Right. And the video suggests that being able to communicate in another language opens up all these new opportunities to make deposits in your relationships.
Yeah.
Because you can connect with people on a deeper level, understand their culture better, have more meaningful conversations.
Absolutely. And it's not just about close friends and family either. The video talks about the power of weak ties.
Oh, yeah, those people you might not know super well, but who can still offer new perspectives and opportunities.
Exactly. And language skills can really expand your network of weak ties.
Because you can suddenly connect with people you wouldn't have been able to before.
Right. And that can lead to all sorts of unexpected benefits.
So it's like learning a language is not just about personal growth, but also about expanding your social world.
It is. And it's also about giving back. The video mentions this idea that giving your time to others can actually make you feel like you have more time.
I love that idea.
It's counterintuitive, right? But when you invest time in helping others, it can be incredibly rewarding and give you a sense of purpose that makes you feel less pressed for time.
And in the context of language learning, that could look like helping someone learn your native language.
Exactly, in exchange for them helping you with your target language.
It's like a win-win situation.
It is, and it can really boost your motivation and make the whole learning process more enjoyable.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about learning and growth.
Okay.
The video mentions something called the teacher effect. What's that all about?
So the teacher effect basically means that when you teach something to someone else, you actually learn it better yourself. Oh, that makes sense. It's like when you have to explain something to someone else, you're forced to really understand it yourself first.
So you can't just fake it.
No, you have to really know your stuff.
So for language learners, this could mean finding opportunities to teach what they're learning to others.
Exactly, like through a language exchange or even just explaining a grammar point to a friend who's also learning.
It's like the ultimate test of your knowledge.
It is, and it can be a really effective way to reinforce what you've learned.
The video also talks about the importance of learning from the experiences of others.
Yes, like reading biographies or listening to interviews with successful language learners.
It's like getting a sneak peek into their journey.
Exactly. And you can learn so much from their mistakes, their successes, and their strategies.
And it can be really motivating to see how other people have achieved their language goals.
It can, and it can give you some great ideas for your own learning journey.
Now, there's the other concept in the video that I found really intriguing. It's called deliberate amateurism.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What does that mean exactly?
So basically, it's about strategically choosing to be bad at something so you can focus on what's really important.
Okay, I'm listening.
So for language learners, this could mean prioritizing fluency over accuracy in the beginning.
So like not worrying too much about making mistakes.
Exactly, because the goal is to communicate and to get comfortable using the language.
And as you get more confident, you can start focusing on refining your grammar and pronunciation.
Exactly. It's about taking the pressure off yourself and allowing yourself to learn and grow at your own pace.
And the video also mentions that having limitations like limited time can actually boost creativity.
Yes, because when you have constraints, you're forced to find creative solutions.
So for example, if you don't have a lot of time to study, you might have to find ways to integrate language learning into your daily routine.
Exactly like listening to podcasts while you commute, or using flashcards while you're waiting in line.
And finally, on the topic of learning, the video talks about strategic quitting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an important one.
What does that mean in the context of language learning?
It means being willing to let go of methods that aren't working for you.
So if a particular textbook is boring or an app isn't engaging, you don't have to stick with it.
Exactly. It's about constantly evaluating your learning process and making adjustments as needed.
So it's not about giving up on your language goals.
No, not at all. It's about being smart about how you pursue them.
Now, the last big idea from the video that I wanted to touch on is personal energy.
Okay.
Because you can have all the time in the world, but if you're constantly exhausted, it's hard to learn effectively.
So true.
And the video emphasizes that energy levels are a vital resource.
They are, and language learning requires a lot of mental energy.
So we need to be mindful of how we're managing our energy levels.
Absolutely. And one thing the video suggests is identifying the times of day when you feel most alert and focused.
And then scheduling your study sessions for those times.
That's a great strategy because it allows you to leverage your natural energy peaks.
It also talks about decision fatigue, how making tons of little decisions throughout the day can drain your mental energy.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
So the video recommends creating routines for language learning.
Yes, because routines can reduce decision fatigue and free up mental bandwidth for the actual learning.
And then there's this idea of micro workouts, those short bursts of physical activity that can boost mental clarity.
Love those. Even just a few minutes of movement can really help.
So to kind of wrap things up, this deep dive into the idea that life is short has really highlighted how important it is to invest our time wisely.
It has.
And for language learners, that means making conscious choices about how we spend our time and prioritizing our language goals.
Definitely. Time is precious, and we want to make sure we're using it in ways that align with our values and our aspirations.
It really makes you think about what you're doing with your days, doesn't it?
It does.
And hopefully this conversation has given our listeners some practical ideas for how to make the most of their time and prioritize their language learning journey.
I hope so.
Quiz time! Now let's test your English comprehension with a few fun questions. Choose the best answer and let's see how well you understood today's episode.
Question 1. Why do summers feel longer when we are children? A. Because kids have more fun than adults. B. Because our brains create strong memories from new experiences. C. Because we have less responsibility as kids.
Question 2. What is the key takeaway about language learning and time? A. Learning a language quickly is more important than consistency. B. New experiences in language learning make time feel richer. C. Only studying grammar will help you learn faster.
Question 3. What is the main idea behind the to-list strategy? A. Make a list of fun things to do every day. B. Have a list of goals and a list of distractions to avoid. C. Plan your entire schedule hour by hour.
Question 4. What comparison does the episode make about language learning progress? A. It's like planting a seed. Small efforts grow over time. B. It's like a marathon. You have to run fast to reach fluency. C. It's like baking a cake. You need the perfect ingredients from day one.
And that's it. Whether you got them all right or learned something new, you're making progress. Revisit this quiz in a few days to reinforce what you've learned and keep challenging yourself.
Here comes a mini metaphor pack story to plant those new words deep into your memory soil. Let's grow some vocab roots.
You plant seeds of practice daily, trying to make the most of your time before the days fly by. At first, you wrestle with the messy grammar. You overestimate how much you can learn in one sitting. You forget, then remember, it's the small wins that add up. One day you notice social media trying to steal your time, but you resist. You let go of perfection and instead help a friend with their English. That act to give back feels like watering both your gardens. And guess what? You're blooming with a little help from Funfluence Smart Tools.
Replay this short story 2 or 3 times this week. The more you hear it, the more these words become second nature. Language fluency grows from repetition, just like a garden from sunlight.